Let's start with what is a linear graph. Easily said, it is a straight line that connects 2 points. Okay, here are my 2 points. Let's call that one A and that one B. And a straight line can go through those two. There we go. But that's not very specific and that doesn't give us much. We can of course extend those lines and into infinity in both directions, but what do we do with that now? We could be a bit more specific if we would place those points into a coordinate system. Okay, let's do this. Coordinate system consists of 2 axes. Here we go. This one is the y-axis. That's the one going up. And we also need an axis across, and that one is called the x-axis. Okay, when you label the axis, don't forget the arrows, don't forget the labels, and of course, you also need the units. So this is 0, coordinates, the origin of the coordinate system, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and into the other direction, -1, -2. Okay, you know how that works. 1, 2. Okay, so there you go. This is better. Now I have my 2 points in a coordinate system, and I can be a bit more specific about them. I can find the coordinates. So as we have an x-axis and a y-axis, each point consists out of an x-coordinate and a y-coordinate. So let's find those for A. The x-coordinate for A is -1, because you go 1 back from 0, and then you would go 2 down, so that must be the y-coordinate. For my point B, the x-coordinate is 5, because we go 5 across, and then we go 1 up, so there you go, that's the y-coordinate. Okay, so we're always having x first and y second. Across first and then up or down. Good, so what can we do with those 2 points now? We have found the midpoint of those 2 points. So the point in the middle. And then you remember the formula to do that. So the midpoint is x1 plus x2 over 2 and y1 plus y2 over 2. Okay, so you're averaging the 2 x values and you're averaging the 2 y values. Why are they called x1 and x2? So that we don't get confused by them. So that's my x1 then, that's my x2, that's my y1, and that's my y2. So that's my first point. It has x, y, so therefore x1 and y1. That's my second point, therefore it's x2 and y2. Let's substitute the values and find the midpoint. x1 minus 1, x2 is 5, and y1 is -2, y2 is 1. There we go. M would then be 2, and the other one would be -1/2. Let's have a look on our picture if that really can be. So we're having 2 and -1/2. Oh, yeah, that fits. So that's the midpoint between A and B. And another thing which we've done is the distance. So I can find the distance between A and B, right? To find that, we would need the distance formula. Distance formula, remember that one with the square root. We're having x2 minus x1, square that, and plus the difference of the y values to the square root it all. Okay. So that would then give me, for the distance, x2, having a look at that, is 5 minus -1 gives +1. And then I have 1 minus -2 is +2. So I'm having the square root of 6 squared plus 3 squared. 36 plus 9. So I'm having the square root of, what's that? 45. Okay, that is the distance between those 2 points A and B. Okay, so far so good. Another thing we can observe when we're having a look at the line graph here is special points of interest. And that special point of interest here is the intersection point with the x-axis. And we call that one x-intercept. Okay, what's that? What are the coordinates of that point of intersection? They are 3 and 0. So the y value here is 0. Okay, another point of interest would be that one. And that is the point of intersection with the y-axis, and that's called y-intercept. Okay, what are the coordinates of that point? Of course, the x value is 0, and the y coordinate is -1.5. We note that x here is 0. Okay, so far so good. Another thing we need to focus on now is how to draw straight lines. And as you can see, we have started with taking 2 points and drawing a straight line between them. So that is actually the first option to do that when it comes to drawing straight lines. Option 1, taking 2 points. Right, that could be A and B, or that could be our special points of interest here. We could take the x-intercept and the y-intercept and draw a straight line between those two if we have given the linear equation to that line graph. X and y-intercept. Option 2 for drawing a line, a straight line, would be that you just take a table of values, or you write yourself a table of values. However, when you do that, please know that 2 points are sufficient, and then you actually end up, when you choose option 2, with option 1, because you only need 2 points. Okay, so the real next option is to take one anchor point and investigate the direction. So 1 point and the direction of the straight line. So it can go up or down. It can go up very quickly or very steep, or down in a very low. How do you say? So it can go down very softly, and that a measure for that kind of steepness is the gradient, right? We remember that one, the gradient. M, and the gradient is rise over run, which means we take the difference in y values, because that's the rise, remember, up or down, over the difference in x values. Okay, we can do that for our point up there. So we just had A being -1, -2, and B was 5 and 1. Okay, so the gradient then is y2 minus y1, so 1 minus -2 is going to be +2, and x2 is that one from B, so 5 minus -1, so +1. There we go. That is 3/6, or simplified, a half. Let's check out our picture. Looks pretty good. So for each point, you're going to the right. Let's take a different color for that. You can start anywhere where you like. So for each point you're going to the right, you would go half a unit up. Okay, so the run would be 1, and the rise here would be a half. And then we are at our midpoint. So that is the gradient m. Right. Usually, one last thing I want to tell you is when you prefer to take option 3. So having an anchor point and a direction, we take the gradient, that's for sure, but we like to start actually with our y-intercept as our anchor point. So then when we do that, we get a kind of linear equation for the line, for our line through A and B, that is in point gradient form, in gradient intercept form. So the gradient intercept form would look like this: y equals mx plus c. Okay, where c is the y-intercept and m is our gradient. I was told it's called m because Descartes, who invented the coordinate geometry, was French speaking, and then it stands for mount. Okay. Can I see my video now?